everybody, it's Robin over at Trinity Design Studio. Welcome to the studio. I don't know about you, but I am so sick of winter right now. We've got a bunch of snow on the ground and it's Virginia. I'm just tired of the snow, and I know that a lot of you are dealing with a whole lot more snow than we've got. So I was thinking about that and how cold I am and how I really wish I was warm and it was spring or summer. So last night I decided to offer a really fun project to my club members, and we made this cute berry basket with the little paper strawberries in it. And today I'm going to show you how to make these little strawberries. I found this project online from a demonstrator over in Australia, I believe. She put a YouTube video up, and I just loved it so much I wanted to do a version for my clients and my stamping friends. So stay tuned, hang with me, we're going to make these little strawberries together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of real red cardstock, and this is cut out of a 12 by 12 sheet of real red, and I've cut it down to a 6 by 6 size, so you can get 4 strawberries out of one sheet of real red cardstock. And the next thing you're going to need is your Stampin' trimmer with the scoring blade right here, and I'm going to put this in my trimmer, and one point right in the track, and I'm going to look down here with the other point in the track, and I'm going to use the scoring blade, not the cutting blade, but the scoring blade up here, and just score that right down the middle. Okay? Then I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to do the other side. So I'm basically scoring an X right into the cardstock. Score. Okay? So you probably can't see it real well because of the color, but I've got an X right there that I've scored. The next thing I'm going to do is score this in half at 3 inches. So right here at 3, and I'm going to score that, and I'm going to turn it a quarter turn and score this at 3 inches as well, just like that. So I have my piece all ready to fold. Now let me set the trimmer aside. With the next thing I'm going to do is take with my bone folder, I'm going to fold this in a triangle like that and smooth that out with my bone folder. And then I'm going to fold it again in a triangle and smooth that out with my bone folder. And I'm going to fold it one more time in a triangle, just like that, and smooth that out. It's a little thick, but you're going to smooth it just a little bit. There you go, with my bone folder. Now, you're probably wondering, how am I going to get a strawberry out of this folded, looks like a little paper football that we used to play with in high school. I don't know if y'all ever have done that or not, but I know I sure did across the lunch table, flicking my little footballs across the lunch table. But we're not going to do that. We're going to make this a strawberry. So what you need is some sort of a pattern that'll give you that nice oval shape that's going to help you make the strawberry have its nice curved top. Okay, so we're going to take the 1 3/8 inch by 2 inch oval punch, and we're just going to punch out a piece of cardstock in a different color than what you're working with. So I just chose black because I knew it would show up really well. And I'm going to set that aside. And this little oval is going to be my pattern. So the next thing I do is I take my strawberry, and this is the point where all the folds converge right here. See that? That point right there. You've got these folds, and then this is all your open folds right here. But you want this point where all the folds converge. That's your bottom of your strawberry. So you're going to lay the oval right there on top of all these folded pieces of cardstock, all of these folded little flaps, and hold that right in place right there. And you can see it kind of just meets the edge of the cardstock right there. It's not an exact science, it just needs to be a little curve for you so you can get your strawberry shape. And I take a pencil and I'm just going to draw around it. No, there's no big shot die for this, there's no punch for this. This is just the easiest way to do it, and there you go. So I've traced my shape right there on my cardstock. So I'm going to go and use my craft and rubber scissors. If you've been around Stampin' Up! For a while, you remember these awesome scissors. We used to sell these in order to cut our rubber stamps off, cut our rubber stamps apart and mount them. But they're great for cutting really thick layers of paper, cutting through plastic. So I keep a pair of these around. And you might be able to find some if you don't already have them, or something similar to it out on the market. So all I'm going to do is just cut right there on that trace line that I traced with my pencil, And you can use a pen, it doesn't matter, whatever you trace the oval with, just so you get a line right there. You're going to cut it off anyway and you'll never see it. Okay, so this right here, that's trash. There you go, right in the trash. So I have something that looks, I'm not even sure what that looks like, but that's going to be your strawberry, I promise. The next thing you're going to do is take a large hole punch. I'm still using my Crocodile that I got years ago, but any kind of a large hole punch that will go through multiple layers, because right here you're going through 8 layers of cardstock right there. So you need something that's going to go through multiple layers. You can use a regular handheld punch in the I guess it's a 1/8 of an inch size that we have in our catalog, and just go through this one at a time. It's just a little easier to do them all at once if you're able to do that. Okay, so now you have what looks like a flower with holes in it, but that's not what you're going to have. You're going to have a strawberry. I promise. It's going to look just like this one when we're all done. So hang with me. The next thing you want to do is you're going to need to create a way for your strawberry to attach, to make it into an actual round berry. Okay, and you can't do it that way obviously because that just kind of folds up funny. So let me show you how you're going to get your berry to look like a big fat juicy berry. You're going to take your pencil once again, and I loved this trick from the video that I watched yesterday. She took a pencil and she just drew a little flap right onto one of the petals. She just drew that right out, right there. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that real well in the video, but I drew right there this little flap, and this right here is what you're going to glue to the other side to make it into a fat round berry. What you're going to need to cut out 2 of these petals. So you're going to cut out this right here, cut around the flap I've drawn, cut this petal out, and cut this petal out. So you're going to be left with 5 petals of this flower that you've created. So take your paper snips and just go right in there and cut. And hopefully you can see that pretty well. Just like that. And you turn that around and cut just like that. And this piece right here, you can throw that away. You don't need that. I'm sure that some of you could find something to do with it. I hear that all the time from my really crafty, handy clients. So I know you could probably do that too, but it's going to go in the trash in my studio. So let me show you the next thing you're going to do. I've got my Texture Boutique with me, and I'm just going to pull this out, and I'm going to put the polka dot texture onto our strawberry. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the finished one right here, but I've got the little polka dots because it just needed a little berry something to make it more berry-ish, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to lay my strawberry in the embossing folder. Where it has the printing on it, this is the top of your embossing folder where it says Stampin' Up! And Sizzix. That's the top of your embossing folder. So you want your berry to be laid in there this way, and you're going to put it in between the 2 pads that come with your Texture Boutique. And I've also got the little shim in my Texture Boutique, right? The little shim. So you can see that in that. And I guess I should turn this around so I can actually turn that crank for you. And I'm just turning my crank. Can you see slowly coming out the other side? And this is where we have the magic happen. And there you go. You've got polka dots right there embossed on your strawberry. So let me set all this aside. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble this with some Tombow. Before I actually assemble it with my Tombow multi-glue, I want to take my bone folder and just curl these petals a little bit, because you want to give it a little bit of curl so it's easy to put all these little sides together. And I'm going to take my multi-glue, and here we go. Get a little bit of Tombow right there, just like that. And you're going to take this and curl that around and just hold that in place for a minute. Just like that. Yeah, I got a little extra right there. A little extra love from my glue. This is the best glue, guys, for trying to hold paper together. Can you see that okay? Okay, there you go. Looks like I had it a little high. But all I'm doing is just holding that in place until it kind of seals up. And wipe that off there. Okay, and there's the body of my strawberry. Isn't that cool? Kind of neat. Alrighty, next thing you need is a piece of white baker's twine. I've already cut this off, and it's about 14 inches in length. If you want it a little longer, you can do that, but I think 14 inches is sufficient for what we need here. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to string it starting from the outside through the hole, and then go to the next little petal, and again to the outside, and one more time right here, and one more time until you go through all 5 petals of your strawberry. Now what I love is the fact that this is big enough to put a little piece of candy in for a sweet treat for a friend. You just want to make sure that you do that before you tie this off. And you also don't want to tie this in a knot, because it would be really hard for whoever you're giving this to get it open to get their treat out of the middle. Okay, so once you have all 5 holes done there, you're just going to cinch it up like that. And the berry's going to kind of fold, the petals are going to fold into each other just like that. Okay, and I'm just tying this off like that. Okay, now I'm just going to tie this in a little bow again, because I don't want to knot it and make it impossible to get it open, especially if I'm going to put a treat on the inside. But I want this to be a little bow because I want it to be hidden by the little cap, little green cap that we're going to put on the strawberry. So I'm just going to make this a little littler like that by pulling these strings back. You just hold the knot in the middle and pull. There you go. It's like a little teeny bow, and then you've got extra to tie your bow on top, your next bow on top of the cap of the finished strawberry. So let me show you how we're going to make this little cap. That's next. The first thing you need is a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and we're going to use this stamp from the Flower Patch stamp set, and it's photopolymer, as you can see right through it. And we're going to use the matching framelit from the Flower Fest dies. And what I've done, I don't know if you can see this or not, I've taken a Sharpie and I've marked a little black mark right here on this particular point. If you look at your die, that is the only spot where there is a single point that comes to the inside of your flower. The rest of these have a little divot, so it's almost like 2 points between every flower. That's the only one that has a single, and that's the perfect spot to mark your die and your stamp. I colored right on the photopolymer stamp with the black Sharpie on the back of it. So when I stamp this, I know to stamp it straight up and down this way, and when I go to cut it out with my Big Shot, I can lay that pretty much right in the place instead of having to shift it around 50 times trying to find exactly the right formation of petals. Easy, huh? I love these little tips. Hopefully that helps you out, some of you that have been struggling with this particular framelit set. So I'm going to stamp this in Garden Green. I love Garden Green for its deep, rich green color, and it's also very springy. So I'm just going to ink that up. Now, one of the things that I've found is that I need to use a piercing mat underneath my cardstock. And this just helps, especially with the photopolymer, it helps to get a nice even image when you're stamping. So I've inked that up pretty good, and my black line is right there. I'm just going to push straight down and straight back up, and I've got a beautifully stamped image. So let me set that aside. The next thing we need to do is cut this out with the Big Shot, which I happen to have right here. So let me go ahead and show you how I'm going to line this up on the magnetic platform. So you can see this is where my single little divot is between the flowers. I'm going to lay the die down right there, and it is almost perfect right there. So I'm just going to, I've already got a cutting pad underneath. Oops, of course I moved it. And I'm going to put a cutting pad on top. And give me just a second. I'm going to go and cut this out with my Big Shot. Okay, we're back, and I have cut this out with my Big Shot. I'm just going to take that out of the paper and punch the little image out of my framelit and set that aside. Now I need to punch a hole in the middle of the stamped cap. So I'll go back to my Crop-A-Dile and just punch that sort of in the middle. It's pretty close, but strawberries are not all exactly the same. They're nature, and every one of them is different, just like our flowers and our grass and anything else that's made by God. Everything is all individually made, which is kind of awesome when you think about it. So I took my bone folder and I just curled those petals around a little bit just to give it a nice little curve so it'll lay curvy over the top of your finished strawberry. So let's bring this one back in here that I was working on. Now I've got these two strings, just a little bit more there, two white strings, and I'm going to even those up on the ends, and I'm going to put that through the back side of my little stamped cap, and I'm just going to pull that tight and tie it in a single knot, because I'm just basically tying this in a bow right on top of the strawberry. Just like that. I just think that is the most adorable thing that I have seen in the longest time, and it makes me want summer so bad. In fact, I think when I pick the kids up from school today, I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy some strawberries just so I can taste summer and remember what it tastes like. Guys, thanks so much for stopping by today, and I really hope that you've enjoyed the project that I showed you. They fit really nicely in this berry basket with the berry basket die, but we sell with Stampin' Up. I hope you'll make these yourself and give them to somebody you love, or display them somewhere in your home where you can enjoy them.
I'm famous in my father.